Okay, new day. Been traveling this week. Just got home, well, early this morning, 2 a.m. ish. But so I think what I'm going to work on today is this valance and the lower fender drops here. Fender extensions, yes, that's it. Been watching this feller on Shop Dog Garage who's doing a 67 Camaro. And I have to say, I'm glad this is a Firebird. This whole front end section is a lot easier on these than it is on those. And, you know, there's just, you know, they have the upper valance, the lower valance is solid through here, and then the grill has to mate up to all of that. This one is much more forgiving because you just get everything right here and then the bumper mates up to it. And there's a nice rubber gasket and whatnot. So, you know, that's all fine. But first thing I'm going to do is probably pull this apart again. This side over here, I had to make a bunch of new holes, clean up some other ones. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, put a washer under each bolt and tack them in place so I know exactly where the hole needs to be before I fix the ones that have been either replaced or elongated, which I will pull off and do. The other thing I've got to do is this is up a little bit. I need to determine if this is correct or this is correct. I've been assuming it's this, but it's possible that this little piece here, hopefully you can see that, where that's up higher, I'm kind of hoping, you know, it's just as easy as fixing this and not having to get into this. It's not ridiculously out, but it's enough. So anyway, we'll sort that out. Probably have to take the bumper brackets back off to do that, and I want to adjust on the fender extension a little bit here too, just because it sticks out of here and I got a little bit of a gap. You know, after watching the guy on Shop Dog Garage, I'm you know, I got to up my game here. The guy works like I work. He does, you know, he really wants stuff right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with that. I'll bring you back when I get something to show you. All right, so I pulled the valance off, the lower valance, and I've worked this edge, underbent that a little bit, or overbent that a little bit. Had a little hole up here, wanted to clean that up, just filled that with some weld. But I also had a situation where if you looked up this straight line, it curled out here at the top. So I put just a tack weld here, a little bit of a tack, just built that out a little bit, and then ground it until it was in line with the rest of it. That'll tell me where I need to go. So as I start to fill in the rest of this, I have a starting point and an end point. So that, you know, good idea, right? So, work this edge, overbent that a little bit. Came over here, started looking at this side. There was a big hole here. That's just part of the process. So I filled that in. That's fine. I took off the extension, and I'm going to work these holes out a little bit, make them a little larger so that I can have a little more adjustment. The nuts are in the actual extension, so that's fine. I did overbend this a little bit, that return, although I think I got to slit it right here in the corner because I can't really get that corner to match up to the rest of it. So I'm going to slit this here so you can see it. I'm going to slit this right here in that inner brace. Then once I slit it, I'll form this where I need it to be. Then I'll re-weld that, grind it flat, and when I put that back on, I should be able to get a good body line match. I mean, that was super close. It was just sticking out a little bit too far that way, about, I don't know, not quite an eighth. So once that's back on, I'll put the valance back up. Now I tacked the washers on the inside of the valance on that side, on the passenger side. Just tacked up some washers. I'll grind the tacks flat to put that back in, and just make sure that those washers are still in the right position now that I've, adjusted the flanges a little bit. Then I will, once I get that all happy, I'll move over to this side, again, tack washers in under the bolts so that I know where the actual hole is going to be, because you can see I had to open up some of those holes a lot to get those to line up. So I've got to fill that back in, so I'm going to put tack washers on there, weld them up, then go to the back side, fill in the holes, blah, blah, blah. So other than that, this is coming pretty fine. This has a nice straight edge down through here, so I don't need to build this out. It doesn't curl in like the other one, I don't think. But I'll know more once the valance is back on. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'll bring you back when I have something to show you. All right, that didn't come out bad at all. I've tacked in all my washers. And now I'm gonna pull this off one more time, weld it up. But I also, built up this a little bit so it matched perfect. I got a good fit here, but I've got to clean it up a little bit there once I pull it back off. You can see there's a little bit of a wow in it, but I just got to add some material to the fender. This side was good. I broke these two spot welds, pulled it out, welded it back up, and then I did add a little material here just to make it all match nice. But this pulled in good. The lower fender extension lined up better. All I had to do was open up these holes just a little bit in the top between the inner fender and the fender, and that all pulled in perfectly. And I've also tacked in my washers down here. So I'm literally ready to pop this back off, weld those washers up permanent, grind them all up nice, prime it, and put it back on. So not bad. That was not hard at all. Like I said, I was watching Shop Dog Garage, and man, poor guy was struggling on the Camaro front end. This is a breeze compared to that. So anyway, cleaned it up pretty good, pretty happy with all my gaps, pretty happy with how everything fits now. So like I said, I'll pull that valance off one more time, weld it up, prime it, put it back on. Okay, so got that finished up, welded the washers onto the back side, filled in the gaps on this side. So yeah, that should do it. That should provide me a good rugged surface to screw it down to. And I had to build up the corners a little bit here, get that stood out properly, get a nice straight line down through there. Let's see if I can give you a perspective on that. But yeah, so that body line is supposed to be straight all the way down through there. So concentrated on that. Apparently I epoxied right over a sticker, but that's all going to get stripped anyway. And same thing over here. I worked it until I got a nice straight line down through there, right? So if it's straight here, straight there, it'll go. And then again, just hit it with some epoxy. After everything was plug welded and I pulled this corner back out, everything lined up perfectly. So pretty happy with that. I'll slap that back together as soon as the paint dries, and we'll have that done. But just a little bit of messing around. It doesn't take much with the Pontiac body. The Camaro bodies, it's a lot more complicated just because of the way the valance and the grill and the bumper and everything. The bumper's easy on the Camaro, but everything else is a little bit of a chore. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to call that a day and slap that back together probably tomorrow when the paint's dry, or Sunday. And then I will figure out what the next steps are. So far, so good, though. I think the next adventure is going to be trying to get the doors lined up properly. So these doors have got to come out a little bit. They got to come forward a little bit. And then I got to start working the edges of the doors and the fenders. The fender looks a lot better than the door. So, I got to kind of just match it up, get it where it needs to be. And like I said, it has to come forward a little bit, but you know, there's some work to do there. So I know most people will do the doors first, but I kind of wanted to see how the hood, nose, and everything else was going to come out first, so I knew I had the nose forward enough, because I'm going to have to close up that gap a little bit anyway, so I just wanted it to be right in that direction to start with. So like I said, that's about it for the valance, lower valance on the Firebird. I think it came out pretty decent. I've got well-defined holes now. I even, on this side where the holes were bigger than the diameter of the inside diameter of the washer, I welded it out so that it flattened it right out and made it look good. And of course this will all get stripped and blocked and everything else with the rest of the body, but I just wanted it in a place where I know it isn't going to rust and it'll fit good. So yeah, pretty happy with how that all came out. So that'll be it for the lower valance.